Hi guys, Iron Cameraman here. I think you too, like me, after watching the second part of 73 episodes, are a little bit shocked and perplexed by what you saw. Due to the fact that every second was endowed with epic and unexpected events, it was hard to even have time to realize what was going on. And the best part is that I found the most interesting moments unraveling. For example, have you ever wondered, what are those new balls G-Man has? I mean, we've only seen purple particle balls like this before. But this time he used balls with green particles, and I wouldn't have paid so much attention to it if it wasn't for the fact that this is the signature color of Secret Agent. And at this point, you can immediately notice green glow on roof of one of the buildings. But this time it's not just another Secret Agent's teleport for surveillance. Here he has a completely different purpose. And believe me, you will not expect what I have unraveled for you. And on top of that, you'll also find out what happened to Cameraman and Speakerman Titan, and will they no longer be able to fight anytime soon. Today's analysis will be very full of details and secrets, so be sure to subscribe to the channel and put like. After all, I will remind you that 80% of viewers watch my videos without subscribing. Let's fix that statistic. Anyways, here we go. Second part of episode 73 begins with G-Man uttering the epic phrase, "For scientists."
For scientists.
As you might have guessed, this is a reference to Cameraman Titan's phrase, "For plunger."
For plunger.
I think he only learned of the scientist's death when he saw Fake Scientist, which explains his surprise at that moment and why he didn't immediately start firing his lasers at him. After that, Cameraman and Speakerman Titan started shooting at him from behind. But as we can see here, his shield worked. Like I said, this shield works on sensor technology, meaning as soon as he is attacked from any side, the shield automatically protects him. This ability allowed him to focus only on TV Man Titan for a while, and he decided to start by hitting it directly in its core with a laser. At this point, TV Man says the phrase, "I am the last thing you will see." This is a direct continuation of his previous phrase, in which he said that G-Man won't live to see what's coming. And this is where we see the new technology with Green Ball. I thought at first it just exploded when it came in contact with something, but it's actually a different technology, and you'll see what I'm talking about when we get to the point where we see green glow from Secret Agent. Notice that he decided to throw the same sphere to Speakerman Titan as well, and after that, Cameraman Titan breaks one of his lasers, and right after that, we can hear the familiar sound we heard in episode 72. And just like there again, a purple ball comes out of the core. But Cameraman Titan realizes that it is better not to take it with claws and throws this ball towards the mountain. There is one interesting detail here. As we remember when G-Man fought Astro Toilet and showed his balls, Cameraman Titan was not there, and he came at the very end of the episode, only after Speakerman Titan. So here comes a logical question. And how did he realize that this sphere is not ordinary, and it is better not to take it? Answer is very simple. He just saw what happened with TV Man Titan and Speakerman Titan. When a similar ball with a different color, he realized that something is wrong with him. But there's another question here. If he could essentially throw the same ball to TV Man or Speakerman to hypnotize them, why didn't he do it? As it seems to me, the purple ball can infect only inanimate devices, which is the claw of Astro Toilet, while the whole body this technology is not able to infect. And after this fact, logically arises the theory that the green balls should supposedly infect the whole body, but it did not happen. So far, this technology has not been fully developed, and I even have a couple of interesting proofs that this technology was most likely created and given to G-Man by Secret Agent. That's why he shows up here almost immediately after balls don't work as planned. You might think that this theory is nonsense, and he's hardly helping G-Man since he's on the side of the Alliance. But in fact, what I told you does not contradict it, but on the contrary, only confirms the fact that he needs to defeat Skibidi Toilets by any means necessary. You might be asking, what about helping G-Man achieve that goal? And I'll tell you that he wants to unite Alliance and Skibidi Toilets for a while to defeat stronger Astro Toilets. And to this there is a lot of indirect evidence, which I will tell you about a little later. By the way, if you get 7,000 likes under this video, I will make a separate video on this topic, as I actually have a very extensive and global theory there. Before TV Man Titan jumps on G-Man, he says, "Come here." But unfortunately, he fails miserably at it and falls down with all his might. And Cameraman Titan decides to throw back G-Man's energy that he had stored in his claw. This blow was so strong that G-Man's other right laser falls off. Meanwhile, Speakerman Titan comes up as well and decides to break his jetpacks just in case so he can't fly. Well, and so that he can't run away again, but as we know, he was able to fly away anyway. And after which G-Man bites Speakerman's cannon off with his mouth, and it reminded me a lot of Troll Leak, where the cannon was in his mouth. We'll talk about Troll Leak later, and you can probably guess what moment I'm talking about. Speakerman Titan ends up falling down from a headbutt, and after that, something happens that hasn't happened on the show in a very long time. He gets infected by Skibidi Parasite, and it was so unexpected that even TV Man Titan was surprised and said the phrase,
"Got to be shitting me."
but luckily he eventually manages to get Speakerman Titan back to his old self. Or else the second time, if he had stayed infected for a long time, it would have been a real pity for him. And while two Titans have temporarily fallen away from the battle, Cameraman Titan bursts back into the battlefield with the epic phrase, "You're mine." And at the same time using a claw to clutch his head and keep him on the floor, and already traditionally starts burning G-Man. But if, for example, in episode 57 he did it with the help of a core, this time he decided to fry him with help of two huge lasers. And here he could have already died, if not Skibidi Mutant, who at the last moment decided to throw a bomb directly at his head. But it didn't end there. Suddenly another Skibidi Toilet comes out of the ground with a huge amount of acid. It clings to Titan's leg and explodes. And the explosion was so strong that even Camera Woman's arm couldn't withstand it. Unfortunately, she was left without her right arm. Now imagine what happened to Cameraman Titan's leg if he was right next to the center of the explosion. As I see it, he won't be able to walk anymore, and he needs major repairs after this fight. I think Dafuk Boom will show us that in an extra scene when he posts the full version of this episode. Because I will remind you that he himself said that the full version will be with new scenes. And there, we will already understand the condition of Cameraman and Speakerman Titan. And hopefully, if they go for improvement, we'll see them return soon. Even though Cameraman couldn't finish his job, he grilled him for so long that G-Man's face changed even more. And now it's almost completely red and with huge scars. As expected, G-Toilet got very angry afterward and broke the cannon with his mouth, and decided to fry too, and Cameraman Titan, weakened after a lot of damage, was no longer able to stop him. But luckily, Speakerman Titan comes to the rescue in time and repeatedly stabs his knife into G-Man's eye. It was too cruel. I think he was left without one eye after that. And of course, the response to such an act was immediate. G-Man begins clapping Speakerman. I immediately remembered the Troll Leak at this point, but it turns out we were tricked there. And in reality, it was him who almost single-handedly managed to defeat all three Titans, not the other way around. By the way, even without half of his lasers, he was able to do devastating damage with only two lasers. Temporarily, Speakerman managed to stop him, but G-Man's rage, as you know, is so strong that almost no one can resist after his shout. Out of his last strength, the poor Speakerman tries to bat his hands away from this red devil, and if it weren't for TV Man Titan, he would have died. Suddenly, TV Man takes a couple sword strokes, and as G-Man flies off a bit, using his remaining couple of jetpacks, he utters the most important words in his entire history on the show at that moment. The thing is, he says, "Wait, you need me." He essentially invited the Alliance to join them with those words. In other words, he meant that they could use him more alive to help defeat their common enemy in the form of Astro Toilets. And now remember my theory about Dafuk Boom that I said at the beginning. After all, back in episode 70, he was telling Plunger that a great danger was coming and pointed to Astro Toilets. G-Man himself has repeatedly mentioned that something is coming that we have no idea about. Given that Boom is a rather secretive character, he is unlikely to directly communicate to Alliance the need to unite with Skibidi Toilets, so he decided to use G-Man to suggest it himself. Initially, I think the plan was different. They wanted to use those green balls to control Titans so that the agents would think it was their own decision. But since those balls didn't work as well as they should, G-Man had to make the offer directly, to which he got the response that Alliance only wanted his head from him. By the way, you might be wondering, then why did Secret Agent kill Scientist if he wanted his race temporarily annexed? This is the whole secret of his behavior. He entrusts his plans only to a select few and rarely shares them. He seeks to find common ground with everyone and acts as he believes is right to win the war by any means necessary. Every move he makes is part of a calibrated and ingenious plan. He analyzes how this or that death will affect the future, like a game on a chessboard. And that's why he sometimes kills even the most loyal, like Plunger. For him, only victory matters, not the life of an individual agent or Skibidi Toilet. More about this I will tell in the next video, so do not forget to subscribe to the channel so that you do not miss new releases. TV Man jumps on him again, but G-Man successfully flies away again. And Titan, already very pissed off, tries to hypnotize him with red glow. And then suddenly we see a container approaching, but TV Man Titan successfully hits it with his core. G-Man, on the other hand, says he'll survive.
I will survive.
And we finally see what's inside the containers. Turns out they're huge jetpacks that hook up on the sides. Notice that before they hooked up, G-Man disconnected everything he had, even his lasers. This means that this technology is not made to improve him, but just to save him in a critical situation. By the way, that container that fell because of Speakerman Titan in Part 1 of Episode 73 came in handy for the right side too. Very lucky for G-Man that they were in the right place at the right time. However, I will remind you that there are still 2 other containers left, and those are just the ones we saw. It's possible that G-Man has others besides them, and it's unlikely they have the same technology. After all, why have 4 jetpacks when 2 are enough? It seems to me that the other containers are designed to improve, and after such a tough battle, he definitely needs to improve or at least repair. Since there is no scientist, this will be handled by surviving Skibidi Toilets, such as mutants, Skibidi DJ, Skibidi Builders, Skibidi Michael Jackson, and others. So even without scientists, Toilets still have a chance to improve their commander. G-Man, after once again escaping, the TV Man Titan got so angry that he broke a couple of buildings nearby and flashed an angry emoji on the screen. This is the first time we've seen such an expression on his face, so we can only imagine his level of anger. Even his teleport indicated his condition, as the lightning bolts turned purple and their numbers became higher than normal, and combined with the sound, it looked very legendary. Now let me tell you what happens next in the series. The way I see it, if Boom has already directly started hinting in the series about G-Man possibly joining the Alliance, then it's going to happen sooner rather than later. But since Titans are not ready for it yet, it means that we need to create a favorable situation for them to take such a step. So, no matter how you look at it, the first step in that direction has to be taken by G-Man. And it has to be a very flashy gesture, and it's not going to be without Astro Toilets. Titans are already not at their best right now, and now imagine what happens if they are attacked by a few Astro Toilets. As you can easily guess, they're unlikely to do well against them. And at this point, if an improved G-Man comes along and saves them, or even cooler, kills those Astro Toilets, then Titans will be willing to at least listen to G-Man. After all, they will feel the power of Astro Toilets and realize that it will be difficult to fight them alone. Although it is not excluded that Speakerman Titan and Cameraman Titan will not participate in battles temporarily and will improve in their bases. And for now, only TV Man Titan will continue to try to catch up with G-Man and once again try to kill him. The main thing is that it won't be too late when he realizes that Astro Toilets are the greater evil. And why Dafook killed Scientist, I think you have already guessed. And if not, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss my next video. Bye.